don't get away yet. Stay seated. You'll have a chance to get away, maybe at some point in this review, but at least not until I get through the IMDb plot here. A family's vacation to a remote getaway takes an unexpected turn when they discover the island they're on is inhabited by a serial killer. All right, going to an island with a killer, not a good idea. Hopefully, there's a lot of ways to escape, but probably not. All right, so this is a fairly new film, so we will try to keep it spoiler free. There's definitely a big spoiler in it, so I'll try to navigate this and give you something to chew on here without ruining everything. I will say that, with that, if you don't know too much about the movie already, and then still want to see it, definitely kind of maybe stay away from some of the stuff. I know I shared the trailer for this, but I didn't watch it, so I don't know if that trailer kind of gives away anything. So just be forewarned that there is a nice twist and turn here in this movie, and if you don't see it coming, it's probably better. I will kind of say that as a horror fan, you're kind of watching it. You might suspect that is going to happen, or we might go down that road. There's a big clue, early on that might be in play here, and I'm proud of myself because I think I picked up on that really early, and sometimes I don't, and I'm glad I was actually paying attention in that moment. But even without that clue, I think at a certain point I was like, is this going to happen? And then it happened, and I'm like, okay. So, so again, I don't know, if I would be spoiling it or not. I will just, kind of, just for you guys, I will kind of try to really hard to not give that away. Anyway, this is, I don't know if I mentioned it a second ago. This is obviously new, but also on Shudder. I think it also hit some theaters. I'm not sure. But, this is Nick Frost, who apparently has, come out of nowhere with 2 horror movies here. I don't know even if he has, something else in the works coming out. But, he just did Black Cab, not too long ago, reviewed that one. And as I had a conversation with somebody, on Twitter with, that one came out first, and this one, I was kind of hoping that this one worked out a little bit better than Black Cab. I reviewed that. You can go back and look to find that. Mixed thoughts on that one. 2 different movies here, 2 different roles for him. But I will kind of say to start, so just in case you guys want to get away already, I'd prefer this one over Black Cab, so we'll say that. If you've seen both of them and you follow me, you'll probably know very easily why I choose this one over that one, and I'll touch on that in a second. But anyway, kind of getting into what's happening here. I was kind of looking at, different things and thinking about different things, that were going to possibly happen here. There's a kind of a folklore story about this island that this family is going to, mother, father, 2 older kids here. We kind of get introduced to them at the beginning and see kind of their awkwardness and their infighting and, this and that, and their family dynamics and all that. But aside from that, there's a story to be told about the island they're going to. And, I don't even know if I can retell it in the exact appropriate way. But, I guess, part of the gist of it was that long ago, there were the locals that lived there were invaded. People came, killed some people, took most of the supplies, left the people there to basically starve until the point where, some had to kill others to live, and kind of did the cannibal thing. and something, that they weren't proud of, and blah blah blah. But a few survived, and now generations later, there's the island and the people on it. So there's some other stuff going on with the story, but I think that's kind of the basics of it. The family's kind of going there. The mom claims that when she gets there that one of her long relatives used to live there, and that's kind of the reason why they're there, to kind of see, and they play it off as this is a tourist spot for them to come and enjoy, and see what's going on there, learn more about this folklore story and so forth. But the locals aren't very receptive to this. They're like, as soon as they basically get off this ferry, a ferry that only comes very few times there. So once it kind of leaves the island, that's it. They're going to be stuck here for a couple of days. Um, you know, the locals aren't happy, and they kind of want them to turn around and leave right away, but they insist, and they go through this thing, and she says that she had a relative there long ago, and blah blah. And an awkward kind of standoff, they eventually stay there, and as you'd expect, because again, we wouldn't have a movie if they just got away right there. Um, so it kind of goes into one of those, what you would expect, one of those movies where um, they're not welcome. The locals are going to do all kinds of creepy, weird stuff, whatever, to kind of scare them away, intimidate them, or whatever. But the family just kind of chugs on and goes through their vacation stuff and just wants to be there and whatever. And, apparently on this island during this time, the locals throw this big play kind of honoring the events of the past and everything that happened in their history, in their story. And the family wants to stay there to see this. It's just very odd overall. It's like one of those things that, obviously not too many other people are touring to see. They're really the only outsiders there. You know, one of those things that you'd think only happens to, and that the people that live there only kind of go through this annual or whatever celebration or remembrance of their history and so forth. So it's a little awkward to have outsiders kind of watch. And then how the outsiders even know that this is going on and want to be a part of this and want to watch. Um, Obviously, a lot of odd things here going on. So you basically have, lots of stuff in that dynamic that you would kind of expect to kind of happen and occur. Um, until basically, I guess, what you would call the final act kind of happens and flips and just becomes a bloody mess. And is really the point of where my enjoyment begins. And not to say that the film is bad in the beginning. I think, like I said, the family is awkward enough. There's some light humor, and then in that you're watching some of the stuff that you kind of expect. Like I said, between a family that's not supposed to be there, and between some locals, some intimidating stuff. Some of the locals have some interesting masks on and so forth. Um, but just a tremendous amount of setup, going into the final act, and basically you know, maybe or maybe not, not that it's horrible or not that you can't sit through it, but maybe you're just kind of like, oh, I've seen all this before. What are we watching? Blah blah blah. When is this going to kind of, get the ball rolling, or something, really is going to happen. I mean, there's a little bit of scene, like I said, with the two sides kind of messing with each other, um, which, you expect and everything. But, uh, once it hits that final act, I think that's when the big payoff comes. And that's when the horror comes, and you kind of figure things out, and everything becomes clear, and lots of fun happens, lots of blood happens. Um, and like, I don't want to say anything specific, but if you know me, the way I like my horror nice and bloody, and blood and guts and that kind of thing. That's going to certainly happen at the end of this movie. Obviously, a twist is going to happen at this movie. Kind of an interesting ending. I really liked the way they ended the movie as well. The final moments of it were fun as well. So a good mix there of fun and blood and guts, and maybe a little bit of tension and maybe suspense if you want to really say that. I don't know. But I think, they kind of keep that kind of fun element, throughout the movie, and it never really loses that, even when it goes into the whole blood and guts stuff that's happening here at the end. There's still a funness about it, and I don't know. Like I said, the locals are a little bit odd and whatever, and you have your moments there. Um, but yeah, again, I'm really trying to be spoiler free here, whatever. Um, I say that, if you sit down to watch this, stay to the end, particularly if you like blood and guts. There are moments there where you might expect this, might expect that. Like I said, hopefully you're like me and kind of pick up on it early on what's going to happen, so you just have to wait for it. If you don't kind of pick that up, you might think that, maybe X is going to happen or Y is going to happen, but no, it was A all along, and it's going to lead to a good time, a fun time. Again, if you like blood and guts, and yeah, that's about as much as I can say about it without spoiling it. Hopefully, I did not spoil it for you, but I have a feeling I did. But I'm sorry. But yeah, again, much better than Black Cab. Obviously, two different movies. Like I said, that one is more dark and kind of a ghost element, and this is more of a blood and guts element. So, Nick Frost, in at least in my mind, kind of redeemed himself with this one. And if you haven't seen Black Cab, it's not that I'm saying not to watch it. I obviously did a review for that. You can kind of check that out. It is down here somewhere. But different movie, and whatever. I did a review for that. I don't need to get into that, but definitely rebounded here with this one. So obviously maybe he'll do another one here, and we'll see where it goes. Obviously, we credit him for what he did long ago. It's been a long time now, but it is what it is. So with this one, I'm going to give it 3.5 pools of blood, and a lot of that because of the twist and because of what happens at the end. A lot of setup, a lot of, there's one character who's very weird, very odd. Well, you might say that there's a couple of them on the island that are, but one in particular, and naughty person as well, and amongst a couple of people here, but yeah, I think they give you a lot of the unexpected, with then trying to give you the unexpected. But I think they were okay also if they gave it away and gave you something to wait for one way or the other. So again, with that 3.5 pools of blood, before I spoil it really big time here, and that is out of 5. So with that, horrorscorereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews written in video. Certainly mostly video reviews for a while now, so you can like, subscribe, and do everything else that everybody else wants you to do here on YouTube. But if not, no worries. It is okay. I thank you for your time regardless. Twitter, Facebook information down below as well. Feel free to reach out to me there. Talk about this movie, other movies. And definitely in the comments section once you see this movie. Did you enjoy the blood and guts? Or did you like Black Cat better? Maybe you did, and you want to let me know that. That's fine. As well. So with that, I will catch you in the next review, horror fans.